CeraVe is America's most trusted skincare brand, dermatologist-developed, used daily by millions. Then, on March 5, 2024, an independent lab found benzene, a known human carcinogen, inside CeraVe's acne cleansers at concentrations over 800 times the FDA's federal safety limit. Not every CeraVe product carries this contamination, but the ones that do sat on store shelves for nearly a year before a single recall was issued. On March 5, 2024, a shockwave hit the skincare world. Valisure, an independent laboratory known for uncovering hidden dangers in consumer products, released a public report with a headline that rattled both consumers and industry insiders. Benzene detected well above safety in two popular CeraVe acne treatments. The products named in the report, CeraVe Acne Foaming Cream Wash and CeraVe Acne Foaming Cream Cleanser, are staples in countless American bathrooms, especially among teens and young adults searching for clear skin. Inside Valishure's lab, scientists used headspace gas chromatography mass spectrometry, a gold standard method for detecting volatile chemicals. What they found was not just a trace impurity, under conditions meant to mimic real-world storage like a hot car or a steamy bathroom. These acne treatments released benzene at levels up to 1,650 parts per million. That's more than 800 times the FDA's federal safety limit of 2 ppm for benzene in over-the-counter drugs. The announcement did more than raise eyebrows. It shattered the trust many had in a brand that built its reputation on dermatologist development and everyday safety. Valishure's report didn't just speculate. It included precise measurements, calibration curves, and a clear statement. Benzene was present at concentrations that should never reach a consumer's skin. The findings were so alarming that they triggered immediate calls for regulatory action and set off a wave of consumer anxiety overnight. For the first time, the safety of CeraVe's acne line was not just a matter of irritated skin or a bad reaction. The presence of a known human carcinogen, one linked to leukemia and other blood cancers, turned a daily skincare routine into a potential health risk. The question was no longer about marketing claims or minor side effects. It became a matter of measurable danger, supported by hard lab data. The need for independent quantitative proof had never been clearer. Now the burden shifted to regulators and the manufacturer to respond to a crisis that had moved from suspicion to scientific fact. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration moved quickly after the lab results landed on its desk. Within days of receiving Valishure's report, FDA chemists set up their own headspace gas chromatography and mass spectrometry analysis, pulling random samples of CeraVe Acne Foaming Cream Cleanser and Acne Foaming Cream Wash from retail shelves. Their findings left little room for debate. The agency confirmed that both products, under heat conditions mimicking everyday storage, released benzene at concentrations that matched or exceeded the original independent data, levels hundreds of times above the federal 2 parts per million limit for over-the-counter drugs. On March 11, 2025, the FDA issued a public drug alert and posted a limited voluntary recall on its website. The recall listed 4 affected lot numbers: 202-405-12202, 40528, 202, 40543, and 202-40556, covering batches distributed across the United States. The agency's statement was direct. Elevated benzene levels exceeding the 2 ppm limit have been confirmed in specific lots of CeraVe Acne Foaming Cream Cleanser and CeraVe Acne Foaming Cream Wash. The recall was classified as a voluntary action, meaning it relied on cooperation from the manufacturer rather than a full mandatory removal from all store shelves. FDA spokespeople clarified that more than 90% of acne products tested showed undetectable or negligible benzene, but the CeraVe products in question were clear outliers. The agency sent warning letters to L'Oreal, CeraVe's parent company, requiring a detailed risk mitigation plan within 60 days and a halt to distribution of the flagged lots. The FDA also reminded the public that benzene is a known human carcinogen linked to leukemia and other blood cancers, and that any exposure above the established limit presents a measurable health risk, especially with repeated use. The recall notice did not extend to CeraVe's entire product line, nor did it include the brand's popular moisturizing cream or hydrating cleanser, which do not contain benzoyl peroxide. The focus remained on the 2 acne treatments, with the FDA urging consumers to check lot codes and discontinue use of any affected product. For many, the recall was a wake-up call about the limits of post-market surveillance and the real-world consequences when a trusted brand's safety net fails. The regulatory response turned a laboratory finding into a national health warning, raising the stakes for millions of consumers who had always assumed their daily skincare was safe. Benzene stands out as one of the most scrutinized industrial toxins, carrying a clear warning from the Environmental Protection Agency. It is a known human carcinogen tied directly to leukemia and other blood cancers. For many, the risk feels distant until it shows up in something as ordinary as a daily face wash. In recent lab tests, CeraVe's Acne Foaming Cream Wash and Cleanser, when exposed to 70 degrees Celsius, the kind of heat found in a parked car or a steamy bathroom, produced benzene levels over 1,000 parts per million. That figure is not just high, it is hundreds of times above the FDA's legal limit. The numbers become personal in stories like that of a father who calls himself non-toxic dad. After using the CeraVe cleanser for 3 weeks, he shared photos online of a raw, spreading rash across his cheeks. His experience echoes across social media, where users post images of sudden, angry skin reactions. Dermatologists acknowledge that benzoyl peroxide can irritate, but the presence of benzene introduces a far more serious threat, one that goes beyond visible redness or discomfort. The real danger lies in what cannot be seen, the long-term risk of cancer building quietly with every use. Heat is not a rare accident. Studies confirm that the inside of a sunlit car can hit 70 degrees Celsius in under an hour, and even a bathroom cabinet can spike past 60 during a hot shower. Under these conditions, benzene in the cleanser forms rapidly, crossing the 1,000 ppm threshold within hours. For those using the product daily, exposure accumulates. EPA risk models show that chronic exposure to benzene, even at low levels, raises lifetime cancer risk. One analysis found that using the contaminated cleanser daily for 2 years could exceed what toxicologists consider a safe lifetime dose. Dermatologists now urge caution, especially for teens and young adults. The evidence, lab results, personal stories, medical warnings makes one thing clear: the risk is real, and it is already in American homes. Holly Grossenbacher's name now appears on the first lawsuit to reach federal court after the FDA recall. Filed on February 21, 2025, in the Southern District of New York, her class action complaint against L'Oreal USA quickly became a rallying point for thousands who felt blindsided by the benzene revelation. Within months, 5 more lawsuits followed in states from California to Texas, each echoing the same charge. CeraVe's acne cleansers exposed unsuspecting users to a chemical the EPA classifies as a known human carcinogen. By the end of 2025, more than 12,000 plaintiffs had joined the coordinated legal fight, their stories consolidated into a single high-stakes case in the Eastern District of Louisiana. The legal filings argue that L'Oreal, as a global cosmetics leader, should have known about the risks posed by benzoyl peroxide's instability. Plaintiffs point to independent lab data and the FDA's confirmation as proof that the products were adulterated, making them not just unsafe, but, in the words of one complaint, worthless. Demands range from full refunds to medical monitoring for those worried about the long-term cancer risk of repeated exposure. This legal wave draws sharp attention to a deeper policy divide. In the United States, a product can reach millions of shelves before hidden dangers are caught, often only after consumer complaints or outside lab testing. The European Union, by contrast, bars 1,300 cosmetic chemicals outright, including a strict 0.1 parts per million cap on benzene in finished products. Ingredients like methylisothiazolinone and formaldehyde-releasing preservatives, still found in some U.S. CeraVe formulas, have long been banned or tightly restricted in the EU, Canada, and Australia. For American consumers, the fallout is more than a legal drama. It's a wake-up call about the limits of post-market surveillance and the gaps in ingredient transparency. Yet, not all CeraVe products are implicated. Independent lab tests show that the moisturizing cream and hydrating cleanser contain less than 0.05 parts per million benzene, well below any regulatory limit, and lack the problematic preservatives and allergens flagged overseas. Dermatologists continue to recommend these two as safe, fragrance-free options for sensitive skin, offering a clear path forward for those seeking clean alternatives amid the uncertainty. Today, millions still trust labels over lab results. Yet benzene's presence, an established human carcinogen, exposes how regulatory gaps can put daily users at risk. True safety means demanding more transparency, not just from brands, but from the system meant to protect us. Choose wisely. Your skin and your health depend on it.